Hi guys, welcome to another video and welcome to Redcar on the northeast coast right by Middlesbrough. Now it's actually pronounced Redcar, I believe. I'm not a native of these parts, but I believe it's called Redcar. It's a very industrial landscape. I quite like it actually. It should lead to some interesting shots. I'm thinking black and white. Like it's definitely going to be a black and white day. I did actually come down here a few months ago and I tried to shoot some infrared and I tried to do a video about it, but basically I got here and I found out I'd left my mic in North Tyneside, which wasn't ideal, and it was really windy. I think I could have probably got by, but the fact it was so windy there wasn't really much I could do. But luckily I do have my mic today and I do have my camera, which of course is the Panasonic S5 IIX. You're going to be seeing a lot of this camera. And basically what you've just seen, looking out in the distance, looking towards Middlesbrough and the industrial landscape, I'm hoping I can shoot a panoramic there. As I say, they will be black and white shots, but I'm hoping a nice black and white panoramic. But it's really going to depend whether I've got enough reach on this 28 to 70mm Sigma lens, which I have to say for a 2.8 lens is nice and compact. So it's a nice little package this. Yeah, that should work a treat. Right, so the first thing I'm going to do is get the tripod a little bit high. Basically, it's high tide, and I'm sort of resting a little bit of land on the sand dunes between the coast and the road, so it's not the most mellow of spots. In fact, that's one thing I wouldn't describe Redcar as mellow. It's not really mellow. It's nice, but I wouldn't say it's mellow. So that's quite calm at the moment. So anyway, I'm waffling. So I've got the tripod just high enough because I don't want it too high because I'm going to try and do a long exposure. So I don't want it too high. I want to try and minimise any chance of any sort of shake. So just high enough to clear any of the dune grasses and flowers and stuff at the front, in front of the camera. Should be a relatively straightforward shot, this one. You know, seeing what I'm seeing. I think the first thing I'm going to actually do is I'm going to put a picture profile to black and white because I want to see how it's looking in black and white because I find it's easy when I'm doing this sort of work. Monochrome D. I think we'll go for monochrome D, that looks good to me. Now it's going to be maximum zoom. As you can see, I'm already on a panoramic crop. Well, that hasn't taken much work, has it? Right, so looking at the shot, as I say, it's actually quite simple. I'm wondering if I want a little bit less water, a bit more water on it. I think we're looking pretty good. Okay, as you can see, really simple. It's basically all about this industrial landscape. So, you know, I've purposely put the two big, larger crane structures, I don't know if they are cranes, on this left-hand side, and then it just nicely goes over, all the way over to here, where it drops off, with that white dropping off, and then just goes into just to the coast. So really, that should be quite nice. Nice bit of contrast for the shot. And I'm going to do two versions of this. I'm just going to do a straight one. So run a 2-second self timer. Run a 10-second self timer. Sorry, that was from this morning, wasn't it? Which was last week's video. If I just look at the histogram. So as you can see, the histogram actually, I'm sort of grouped down a little bit. So I can actually bring my exposure compensation back up to 0. And also what I'm going to try doing now is going to try a long exposure version. So using the KNF filters. Variable ND, no. Polarizer, no. Oh, there we are. Yeah, I'm pleased to say that the 28 to 70 lens I've got from Sigma has the 67mm lens, like 67mm filter size, like a lot of my filters, so a lot of my camera lenses. You know what I mean. Right, that's on now. Let's see the difference that's made. Again, flashing away. So yeah, 3 seconds. If you look at that, you can you see that it's still showing me the full frame? And that's because even though I've selected the 65 by 24 crop on it, it will still show you the rest of the frame. So what you can do in post, if you want, you can move that crop up and down, which is quite useful. It's looking lovely and sharp there. I might just do a bit of a longer exposure, and I'm going to do that. Let's check the histogram. Yeah, so I think I can bring it up another full stop. No, I'll do it to 2/3, and I'm also going to change the F number to F14. And all I'm trying to do here is just try and get a longer exposure. I definitely don't need F14. Something very relaxing about this kind of photography when you're doing long exposures, you can just let the camera wear away for a few seconds. And it's quite a good thing to do on blue sky days, because as long as you've got some running water, you can still take nice shots. Okay, histogram looks great. Yeah, I think that's a nice start to the day, and I hope you agree. Well, I don't think that was a bad start to the day. So there's 3 shots I want to get from here, and that was the first one. The second one are all these fisherman huts here. They're really quite iconic. However, I don't think this is the angle, and I'm a bit concerned about the direction of the sun, because the sun's over there, the huts are over there, so I would have liked to have shot in this direction with the sun to my side. The only way really achieving that is to go over that side and shoot this way, but I think the best angle is over there shooting into the sun, unfortunately, so that might be problematic. So I think I'm going to look at what the third shot was going to be and see if I can do that second, and that, if I can spin you round, I'm not sure if you can make them out. I'll just march up. Oh, isn't this an amazingly wild place? In fact, driving down the road to get here, because this is all private land. Public are allowed on, but there's some weird things going on, because it's pretty much like you're not allowed to come down here, but nobody cares if you do come down here. And everybody comes down here. In fact, everybody just comes and sleeps down here. It looks like you've got people set up in caravans and people are staying in vans. It's got a real Wild West feel about it. Very lawless is the word I'm looking for. Anyway, my third subject was going to be this amazing, and I'm hoping you can see it on the little camera, amazing offshore wind farm. Panoramic, I think. Quite interesting in the distance. I'm not sure if you can make it out, but that's actually the Yorkshire coast, so Staves and places like that. But anyway, that's not my subject. My subject is this. So I'm going to try and find myself a nice viewpoint, and I'm probably going to use all the grass and dunes at the front for a little bit of foreground interest, bit of beach, and then the wind farm. That's the idea. The clouds are interesting at the moment as well, so hence why I think I should get cracking. I think here is as good a place as any, to be honest. We've got a nice strip of grass. I think this will work. I'm a bit concerned about the wind, but I don't think I'm going to be doing a long exposure on it. Simply because the clouds are so nice. My major concern is that my lens won't be wide enough. And I don't particularly want to have to try and stitch anything. I'm going to go in this nice convenient gap just in here. Okay, this should do. Right, should be relatively straightforward. And of course, again, this is the beauty of the Panasonic system for panoramics, because you can do that 65 by 24 crop, which you know, as you know by now, I just absolutely adore. Oh, just about. Oh, very, very cool. The only problem I've got is a little bit of the grass here is coming into my frame, so I think I might actually come a little bit nearer and try and avoid that. But the shot itself was working nicely. I probably should have bought my bigger tripod out of the car. Well, that make life far too simple. So I'm not sure how well you can see that, but it's a very simple shot. Big strip of sky, wind farms pretty much in the centre, and then this bit of grass at the front. A lot of it will be pulled out in post-processing. Now what I am going to try is I'm going to take that shot first of all anyway. Doesn't need to be f14 particularly, so I'm going to bring that to f10, should be absolutely fine. To be honest, f8 would probably be fine. In fact, I will do f8. And while that's beeping away, I'm going to find the polarizing filter. Because I'm hoping that I can darken the sky a little bit. Now it could be that when I actually process it, I put a red filter on in Lightroom, which will darken the blues down. But let's try polarizing filter as well. Yeah, you see, it looks like it's cross-even polarization to me. So I don't think that's going to work, so I think we are actually going to have to rely on post-processing. And that's a problem with polarizing filters, really. As soon as you start getting wide, and if you're not directly 90 degrees to the sun, the chances of getting cross-polarization are really quite high, and it can look a bit hideous. But I think this shot will be absolutely fine. As I say, what I will do is I'm going to check the histogram, make sure I've got all the data recorded. But basically what I want to do in post-processing, I think, is apply a red filter which should lighten all the foliage and make those blue skies nice and dark. But apart from that, relatively simple shots. I'm going 320 per second f8 ISO 100. That's 2/3, okay, that's at 0. So 500 per second, f8. Now I want 500 per second because I want to try and stop. Well, I want to try and freeze the turbines as they turn. So I'm basically going to take a few shots and I will choose my favourite and I'll put it up on the screen for you to have a look at now. So I was absolutely chuffed with that one, really pleased, looking great. Now, just in case you're wondering why I've put it into a monochrome profile, even though I'm shooting in RAW, and the RAW files are still going to retain all the colour because they retain all the information, including the areas which have been excluded from the crop. Well, do it purely to help with pre-visualisation, because I find that if I set my camera to a black and white profile, and using a mirrorless camera, of course, I'm getting a black and white representation on the screen. It makes it far easier for you to work out what's happening with the tones and stuff like that. Now, over time, if you shoot enough black and white, you'll start to know fully. But if you're just beginning in black and white photography, it's a really simple tip just to get yourself running and straight out the gate, because it makes life so much simpler. And you will get a colour shot when you get home, so you can still keep the colour one if you want, or you can process it to black and white like you originally intended. But yeah, I think if you're going out shooting black and white and you know that the end purpose of that shot is black and white, I think it makes perfect sense to use a black and white profile just so you can pre-visualise during the composition stage. So I'm struggling with angles with this one. I was thinking if I shot with the sun behind me that I might get a nice shot, but I think I'm going to be shooting into the sun. I think there's going to be no avoiding it, to be honest, which is a bit of a shame. Probably be nicer coming, oh, sorry for the wind, coming some other point of the day. But we're here and let's see what we can do. Right, so I find myself this angle, which is pretty much where I started. I shot from this direction last time, actually. I've got a feeling this might be another panoramic, and it wasn't actually intending for it to be. One thing that is upsetting me is all the cars. So I have two chains of thought, and the one is to go down there and try and use this hut almost as foreground, so shooting in that direction, so even more into the sun. Or the other option is just shooting that way so I get this nice industrial landscape and just realising it is what it is, you know, these vans are here, there's vans everywhere, they're not going to go anywhere, people are living here. In fact, I suspect that the vans in the distance, the caravans and some of those campers are just as permanent as these huts. It's a really bizarre place, it is really, really bizarre. Yeah, but I think it could be a big pan. I'll have a play with a few compositions and then I'll have a chat with you when I'm set up. Right, so I've set up. I'm going to quickly show you on the video on the camera. Just imagine it as a letterbox crop. In fact, I'll do that on the screen so you can sort of get an idea. But essentially, I've got the group of huts there, and then just the industrial landscape behind and the grass in front. Really simple. There's not really much more to say about it than that. Right, I think I'm going to fit a black mist filter, black mist diffusion filter. If you've seen my black mist diffusion filter review, you know I have absolutely no idea if it does it particularly much. And I still can't particularly tell. I suppose the proof will be in the shot. F10, 125 of a second, ISO 100. It's a bit breezy here, so I'm going to take 2 or 3 shots. and whichever turns out best, I'll put up on the screen for you now. I think this shot, I should perhaps come back at the sunset at some point, or sort of, maybe even winter when the light's a bit lower, when the sun's a little bit lower. Not sure. I think it looked nice though. I would have liked a slightly wider lens. I think this is one thing I'm noticing with a 28mm lens. It's just a bit tight. 24 would be better. Not the end of the world, just a consideration. So, the one takeaway from this video really, I think, is if you want to quickly get into black and white photography, just switch your camera to a black and white film profile so you can actually see the world in black and white. And before you know it, you'll start you'll just see in black and white. You'll just know what works in black and white. But if it's your first steps into black and white, I really suggest just stick your camera in black and white film profile and just see the world change and photograph to your heart's content. Anyway guys, I hope okay, well done if you're still watching, but look at that sky. How could I resist not taking one final photo? So yeah, I am back pretty much where I started. A little bit further down, but yeah, for all intents and purposes, not far away. It's going to be a very similar shot. Just going to spin you around so you can actually see me. I'm working quick, so apologies for any audio problems or video problems, but I kind of just want to get the shot. And it's looking, well, it's looking staggering, to be honest. The clouds just have transformed the whole scene. And I think for me, this is definitely more like the shot I had in mind. Well, that's beeping away. I'm going to just spin you around and show you what I'm doing. Again, apologies for the really dodgy videoing. Basically, we've got the works there, and now we've got these works here. A little bit in the sea, a little bit of the sea in between, and these humongous clouds. Yeah guys, that's a far better way to finish the video. So on that note, I hope you enjoyed it. If you have, thumbs up, subscribe, all that jazz, and I'll see you next week. And here's the photo.